Swamini ji, you are on mute.
You didn't miss anything. That's what you have to tell. Recording is on, I think. The topic for today is emotional growth and human relationships. It's only the human relationships that are problematic. Generally, people don't have any problem loving their dogs and cats and birds and snakes, lizards, whatever they may keep as pets. Relating to dog, cat is not an issue at all. This is something which is very interesting and something to note. A point to note. It's only when I am in relationship with another human being that the problems seem to start. So, this is a good topic to have during what is supposed to be the family gathering weekend in America. The giving of thanks, etc. And then, of course, it is the start of the holiday season. And the holiday season comes with what? A lot of stress. Why is there stress? Because I have to relate to other human beings. That's why there is stress. That is why there is stress. In a way, when we think of relationship, it usually starts any kind of, whether it's a romantic relationship or even with a friend, doesn't matter, a sibling, whoever it is. It starts on a high note. In fact, the R is silent. It's an relationship. Oh, this person is wonderful. This is great. She or he, they understand me so well. They can read my mind. And then a few months later, I don't want them to read my mind. I need space. They don't understand my needs. So it's not a relationship, it's not a relationship, it's just ship, that's all. The ship has sailed, as in, ship of the relationship has sailed. Because I am assailed by all their behaviors and all their beliefs. I cannot handle it. Do not want to be around them. I need freedom, a theme from the last talk. Freedom from what? Freedom from the relationship. That is why 5 marriages later, one is still hoping that the next one will be the best, the most final one. The next one will be that which redeems me. This is the human condition. And we already know the reason for this from the last talk, which is an insecurity based on oneself, which makes me a mountain, a walking, talking mountain of needs. When I look at another person, what is the first thought? What can they fulfill for me? What can they bring me? What can they give? How can they make me better? How can they make me happier? How can they make me fulfilled? How can they make me more alive, more in touch with myself? These are the thoughts. And we don't know whether to laugh or to cry because the other person approaching you also is having the same thoughts. What will this person give me? How will they make me complete? What do they have to offer? Will all my needs be met? If so, when? I want this yesterday. It's already too late. This is what I want. When do I want it? Yesterday. Is this person going to be everything and then some more? And so this way, you see, already the setup is a dangerous setup. The two people have barely met. The setup is already dangerous. Why? Because it's not an interdependence we are talking about. It is codependence. Codependence means that I'll make you fulfill my needs. I'll do whatever I can into making you into a machine that fulfills my needs, and vice versa. It's a dysfunctional relationship even before it began. Why? Because it is fraught with needs. So it's not two people entering into a relationship. It's a bunch of likes and dislikes. One bunch of likes and dislikes goes and approaches another bunch of likes and dislikes and says, "Hi, let's meet. Let's become friends. Let's become spouses to each other. Let's do this together." And one, in the beginning, one feels, what's wrong with that? Nothing wrong with that. No problem. Let this happen. After all, you scratch my back, and then what else? I scratch your back. This is what life is about. Because back scratching is a difficult job. You have to go back somehow, and the arms don't reach. Even in the yoga asana, you need a rope to hold the two things together. So what's wrong with that? Everybody has needs, and so what if one bunch of needs married, and I use the word loosely, married means got committed to another bunch of needs. What is wrong with that? What is your problem? Why should one bunch of needs not marry another bunch of needs? One bunch of likes and dislikes in relationship to another bunch of likes and dislikes. What can go wrong? We all know what can go wrong because it is experienced. We know what can go wrong because the likes and dislikes are ephemeral. Here today, gone today. This is how it is. Think about it. Whatever you liked 5 years ago, you probably don't like right now. Whatever you liked as a child, you don't like right now. They don't stay the same. So if that is true for you, it is true also for the other person that one wishes to relate to, that one wishes to relate with. So two changeling beings cannot be in a relationship because what they are seeking, ironically, is permanence, security. The relationship is not for its own sake. It's not so that I can adore you and find you wonderful. What a wonderful being you are, and that you are in my life is my good fortune, and it is so lovely to have you in my life. That would be great. But what do we have instead is, how can you fulfill my needs? What is wrong with you if you don't fulfill my needs? Don't you see that you were born to do that? And if you don't see that you were born to do that, I'm going to make it my life's mission to make you see that you were born to fulfill my needs. This becomes a very difficult prospect. And so, therefore, it all goes back to I. It all goes back to handling the insecurity within. Because nobody really wants a relationship. They want it to feel a sense of completeness. feel a sense of security, get rid of the, the anxiety of being alone, the fear of being alone. That is why one makes difficult choices. Difficult choices means choices in which there is so much compromise. I give myself away because I'm afraid to be alone. I give my entire self away and become a doormat because one is afraid to be alone. So one's friendships and relationships are all what? With people who are bullies. This happens. Otherwise, what's the flip side? One becomes a bully. So this way, we need some wonderful role models of what a functional relationship looks like. And if we look on this earth, they are hard to find. I'm not saying that they are not there. They may be there, but they are hard to find. And we don't know everybody and anybody. And so therefore, the best thing to do is go back to the Upanishads. In the Upanishad, we have a very beautiful story of a husband and wife, a long married couple, sage Yagyamalkya and his wife Maitreyi. In those days, you could have two wives or sometimes many husbands like Draupadi in the Mahabharata. So it is said that sage Yagyamalkya had two wives, Maitreyi, the younger one, and the older one was Katyayani. He was a man of wisdom, had studied the Upanishads, and had made a great name for himself. How do you make a great name for yourself in ancient India? By entering into debates. And if you know Vedanta, nobody can defeat you. This is one more reason to study Vedanta. Nobody can defeat you in argument. You can argue your way out of a hole, really, out of a keyhole. You can argue your way out. Nobody can defeat you because the mind becomes centered, logical, and very, very, very present and pleasant. And so you defeat everybody in debate. And the rules of the debate is that the other person has to give you their property and become your disciple. And Yagyavalkya, in another place in the same Upanishad, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, goes to a debate. And then the timing of the debate was a little later in the day, not early in the morning, as it usually was. So he looks at the sun outside. He's sitting in the hall ready to debate. The debate hasn't even begun. And he has a few students that are there with him. He tells the students, don't stay to watch the debate. Drive all these fellows' cattle to our ashram. And the debate hasn't even taken place. He has already put a stake on the cattle. He knows the cattle is his. He knows that he is the one who that drive the cattle because they will get lost in the night. They will just settle down to sleep. So if you drive them back to our ashram now, you will reach there before sundown. And, we don't know if that is itself amazing, but if that itself is a wonder, or the other wonder is the hosts just keep quiet. They don't contradict him. They let them drive all the cattle. This is Yagyamalkya of this much fame. Fame, wealth, and wisdom sitting in one person, not really heard of. So in this way, he was an unusual man. And the more he taught this knowledge and the more he lived with this knowledge, he also wrote a book, Yagyamalkya Smriti, part of which is lost to us. Some portions are there quoted in other works. And this kind of a man, very learned, soon decided, a time came where he soon decided, it's time for me to take the last stage of my life. What is the last stage of life? Don't say I see you, okay? Yeah, that's not the last stage of life. Renunciation. We have 4 stages: studentship, studenthood, and then householder, actually househeld, housebound, householder, and then forest dweller. He was already in the forest dweller stage with Maitreyi, living with Maitreyi, where the husband and wife live like friends and pursue meditation and the study of the Vedas, Vedanta. And the final stage is sannyasa, even dropping that, dropping the need for that also. So the Upanishad is very generous. The Shastra is so generous. It doesn't say drop all your dysfunctional needs right now. No, take your whole life to do it. Gradually, it's a life of dropping dysfunction and dysfunctionalities and dependencies where you know you are the whole and you live like that. You live a fulfilled life of solitude because you have outgrown your needs and wants. A successful marriage in the Hindu tradition, in the Vedic tradition, is that which has been outgrown. That is the definition of a successful marriage, where they have grown out of the need to want each other and to depend on each other in dysfunctional ways. So here we have Yagyavalkya having a big and undeniable bout of vairagya, dispassion. He says, all this is okay. We have a cute little cutia in the middle of the forest. And then here we are. We can have coffee on the porch. We can see animals, squirrels, and other animals frolicking around. We wake up to the chirping sounds of the birds. This is all nice. But there is a certain complacency. I want to take it to the next stage. The Shastra ordains that if you want to give up your life and go to the stage of what is called sannyasa, be becoming a renunciant, you have to seek permission from 3 people. From the mother, if she is alive, because she underwent so much pain to give birth to you and to take care of you and to raise you to be a person who wants sannyasa. I mean, she was there. No, but she wasn't a good mother. Doesn't matter. She still did whatever she did. No, I am at this stage in spite of her, not because of her. Still, you owe her thanks because she helped with your self growth. So, mother, you have to take permission, and then you have to take permission from the spouse. Then you have to take permission if you have a minor child or children. You have to take permission from them because they depend on you. They are still small. They need you. Not grown children. Grown children, you don't have to take permission from them. So, in keeping with the Shastric recommendations, the Upanishad opens with the big bang of the story with the dialogue between Maitreyi and Yagyavalkya. Yagyavalkya approaches Maitreyi and says, Ud aham yasyan. Are Maitreyi, honey. Maitreyi, Are means honey. Oh dearest, oh beloved one, I'm off. I feel like going off to the forest. And don't worry, before you panic, let me tell you that you know how wealthy I am. And half the property is for you, and the other half of the property is for the co-wife Katyayani. And you will be very, very comfortable in your life. You will not need for anything. Now do I have your permission? We don't know whether he had this conversation with Katyayini or not. The Upanishad is mum on the subject. Maybe she said, good riddance, okay, go. We don't know. But Maitreyi and he were on the same wavelength. That's why there is an elongated conversation. There is a very beautiful dialogue where Maitreyi says, wait a minute, that for which you are leaving me, and that for which you are leaving all your wealth behind, can I get that with the wealth that you are leaving me? He says, no. Vittena nasha amritatvasya. There is no hope of gaining the immortal being oneself, being the truth of oneself. That is recognized in solitude, that is recognized by living the life of this knowledge, by living this knowledge, by assimilating this knowledge so deeply that it is just like one's name, unforgettable, and completely that knowledge has become one with oneself, that Brahman has become one with oneself. And so this is what I am going to get. This is what you are also going to get. So money will make you rich. Money will lead you to a comfortable life. Money cannot give you what I am seeking. That's why I'm leaving the money behind. There is a Vartika. Vartika means an extended commentary by Acharya Sureshwara, one of the direct disciples of Adi Shankara, who fills in the blanks because the Upanishad is a lady of few words. She just says a few things and goes away, but the Acharya fills in the blanks in very beautiful poetry. And the Acharya elongates this conversation and presents it very beautifully, where Maitreyi says, I too want this knowledge. You can't go without teaching me, because being your other half, I am entitled, you said, to half of your property, half of everything. And so, since this knowledge is of the whole and cannot be halved, I need whole of this knowledge. You're not going anywhere, mister, until you give me this knowledge, because guess what? I too want to I too want to come along with you. What do you mean you're going to go away without teaching me? What you know, you can't go away. And then there is a paritapa. Paritapa means a kind of a regret by Yagyavalkya, who says, I knew you were special. I knew that's why you were dear to me. I knew we were on the same wavelength. But somewhere, instead of me as Brahman, the husband took over. And from the standpoint of the husband, I saw you as a wife, took you for granted, bringing me coffee, bringing me food, making my life comfortable. I thought you were there to serve me. And in that you found fulfillment, O Maitreyi. I did not think for a moment that you wanted this knowledge, nay, that you were even ready for this knowledge. Very, very, very beautiful. And then the teaching begins. He says that there are two things from this teaching that are very important. He says, Atma vai are drashtavyah, shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. O Maitreyi, this self has to be as well as seen. You can't see the self because you are the self, but sometimes you say, I get it, I see it, meaning it has to be known. What should I do to know it? You have to listen to the teachings from one who already has been taught. You have to listen to the teachings. Drashtavyah, shrotavyah, listen to the teachings. And then mantavyah. Then you have to remove the doubts connected to the teaching. Nididhyasitavyah. And then, if necessary, you have to contemplate on the words of the Upanishad which describe you as glorious, free, full, and whole. You meditate upon that, you contemplate upon that, and you revel in that knowledge. This is the way for understanding this. She has already a question. She says, but, How do I understand this? Why do I need this? Why do people need this knowledge? When they can satisfy themselves in community life, in friendships, in relationships, why do we need this knowledge? And he gives a very interesting bombshell as far as human relationships go. It's a very wonderful uh, portion of the Upanishad that lays bare the truth about each and every relationship and disabuses us of the notion that these relationships are what is making me happy. He says the husband does not love the wife for the sake of the wife. What? I thought, oh, that's what the husband is supposed to do. Love up the wife for the wife's sake. Oh, you are so wonderful, you are so great, you are so beautiful, you are so. This is what the husband does. This is what I thought. No. Why does the husband love the wife? For his own sake, not for her sake, for his own sake. Well, what do you mean he loves her for his own sake? Because without her, he will feel incomplete, insecure, afraid, fearful. This is why he loves her, not any other reason. Yagyavalkya is a fair man, and so he says it in the opposite way too. The wife does not love the husband for the husband's sake. The wife loves the husband for her own sake, for her own completeness, for her own security, for her own set of gaping needs that she thinks and she expects the one who is called as husband to fulfill. This is why this is why the wife loves the husband. And here in another text called known as the Bhaja Govindam, very beautiful text, this is illustrated very nicely. The same wife that was adoring the husband and saying, I can't live without you, I can't eat without you, I can't dream without you, I can't go to work without you, everything has to be done with you, with you, with you. Then what happens? Suddenly, the one day, the husband departs this world. And what does she say? Looking at the body of looking at the dead body, what does the wife say? Get this thing out of here. It is frightening me. The same body that she loved, she adored, wanted to do seva, and then the same body that she thought was her bodyguard is now what? Of no use at all. That means what? She loved that body not for the sake of the body, but for her own sake. Same thing with the husband. The children love their parents not for the sake of the parents, but for their own sake. Oh my God, I'm so small. I can't live in this world without you. And yes, you are weird, but still, this is all I have. So I'm going to try to make you happy. I'm going to try to make you take care of me. I'm going to try to take care of you so that you take care of me. This is what it is with the children. The parents also do not love the children for the children's sake. All this I'm not making it up. It's all there. It's all there. One by one, he lays bare. The children don't love the parents for the parents' sake, much less the parents love the children for the children's sake. The parents love the children for who? For their own sake. The children become an extension of the parents, and often they make them do whatever they could not do. Sad but true. And then the friend does not love the friend for the friend's sake, but for one's own sake. Nobody loves the friend for the friend's sake. And then nobody loves the nation, the community for the community's sake. Community also offers a sense of security. So I love the community for my own sake. Nobody loves the nation for the nation's sake. Nobody loves the trees, the rivers, and the mountains and all of nature for the sake of nature. I love it for my own sake because I know that if I pollute the river, who has to drink the water? Not the neighbor. I have to drink this water. If I pollute the air, I have to breathe in tainted air. Therefore, I like this for my own sake, not for the sake of another, not for its own sake. And finally, he sums it up Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. It is for the sake of the self that everything becomes dear. And what is this self? The self is already dear. The self is already free. The self is already whole. The self is already without needs. The self is already complete, not needing anybody, anything at any time to fulfill it and to make it whole. This is the self unfolded by the Upanishads. This is the self that I have to become familiar with. This is the self I learn to greet. This is the self I learn to meet. This is the self I learn to be comfortable with. And I learn to abide in this I, in the Upanishads version of myself. That is the version. Everything else is a diversion. That's all it is. The Upanishad's truth of the self is the only truth because secretly I really want to be that. I want to be a fulfilled, complete person. There are two choices in this world. Either I go about feeding my wants one by one, two by two, three by three, keep on saying, I want this, I need this, I want this, I have to have this, I want this, I go here, I go there, I want this. Or I interrogate the nature of the wanting person within me. What is this wanting person? Who is the wanter? Let us look at that. We only look at the wants and we identify with the wants. The wanter becomes one with the wants. And then there is a feeling of wantonness. That's what happens. The wanter becomes one with the wants and keeps wanting and keeps looking, how can I fulfill this want? Who is there? Who is there that I can sacrifice at the altar of these wants? We got it all wrong. We have to do a headstand now. We have to put this on its head. Which is easier, addressing each and every want one by one, and you know how hard it is to fulfill even a single want? What about all the wants that one has? Is it easier by far to go want by want by want by want, or is it easier to look deeply into the nature of the wanting person? And if we look into the nature of the wanting person, some very important insights come into play. The first thing I have to ask is, who is this wanter? Oh, that's very easy. It's the I. Is it the unchanging I described in the Upanishads, or is it the changing I? That answer is also quite easy. It's the changing I because the wants keep changing. It's not the same want all the time. So it's the changing I. Now cold. Okay, I need a sweater. Now hot. I need AC. This is what it is. It's the changing I, and because the I is changing all the time, the wants in relation to this I are also constantly on the move, constantly changing. The unchanging I, which is the truth of this changing I, and which is, as the Upanishad in the Mundaka Upanishad describes, the one who just watches. There are two birds on the tree, sitting on the tree, both of them the best of friends, embracing one another with shining wings. One of them is busy fulfilling wants. What does it want? Berries. fruits from the tree, little berries. Maybe it's on a cherry tree. So it goes from berry to cherry and it keeps on wanting all these fruits. It eats one fruit, rancid, yuck. I want something else that is sweet. It eats another fruit, oh, that was too soon, sour. It needs to ripen a little more. Oh, the third one was indeed sweet. Now I want to increase that sweetness. And so the bird, saying thus, hops from branch to branch to branch to branch to branch, fulfilling its desire for berries. It's, in other words, very, very busy. And then, what is the other bird doing? Simply watching, not participating in this frenzy, in this frenzied search of fulfilling wants. The first bird is not participating at all. Not at all participating. It is just fine being what it is. Simply being. It is shining the light on the one that is fluttering, going here, going there, be feeling unfulfilled. How many birds are there? One. One. The watcher in me and the doer are as though split into two like the birds in the story, but really it is one. One is a spoof, one is a reality. Which is the spoof? The one that is restless. The wanting one is a misapprehension of the I. It's as though superimposition on the non-wanting I. The non-wanting I simply watches. And you would have experienced this yourself. Sometimes you ask, why do I want all these things? Where will I put them? What am I going to do with them? Why do I want all these situations? Why do I want to have my way all the time? What's wrong with me? Why do I need this? One asks oneself this. And you don't even have to do this much introspection. All you have to ask is this: am I always a wanting person? The answer will always be no. Why? In sleep, are you a wanting person? No. Where are the wants in sleep? What do you want in sleep? To be left alone. Even that you're not conscious of. In sleep, there are no wants. So the reality of me is a non-wanting person, essentially speaking. You don't even need to read the Upanishads or study the Upanishads, listen to the Upanishads to come to this conclusion. This is already there, experientially speaking. No, why can't I say I'm both a wanting person and a non-wanting person? I am sometimes broken, sometimes whole. Do you like this version of yourself? No, I want to be whole all the time. Okay, then keep quiet. Don't entertain that. Don't entertain that possibility if you don't want that possibility. Do not entertain what you really don't want. And so here it is very, very clear, very, very evident that the truth of me is not the restless, fluttering bird from branch to branch, tree to tree, cannot rest if its life depended on it. The truth of me is the free, shining, watching bird, the observer, the witness. And this witness is dear to me because it really does not want anything. Why does it not want anything? Because it's a fulfilled being. It's a conscious, fulfilled being whose truth is limitless. It is limitless. It is limitless means it is ananda. It is whole, it is free. And that freedom is, that wholeness is what I seek. And that is why it is ananda. Unbridled, limitless joy. This is the truth of the self. And if I don't know this, then I go and keep searching for all kinds of things. All kinds of things. I want this, I want that, I want to, this person, that person, I want to be in this relationship, or I want to get rid of this relationship. My teacher wrote a book, Freedom in Relationship, not freedom from relationship. Very nice book it is. So, this is a sobering thought. If I am free of wants, then why do I have this frenzy of wanting all kinds of things? How do I see this? Of course, the long answer is to study the Upanishads in a committed manner. But while one is doing that, maybe one is not in the space to give up everything and study the Upanishads. Maybe one has to work, has to make a living, and then the Upanishad is also studied on the side, like coming to these retreats, camps, all these things. And so, therefore, while I'm doing that, what can I do to help myself to understand and to get to the place of the non-wanting witness? So now we will take this talk to address a few practical ways, practical tips. Everybody keeps wanting tips. Yeah. Vedanta practical tips, takeaways. What can I take home? There are many things that one can do. The first thing that I will advise is japa, meditation. Have a mantra, beg for one, borrow one, doesn't matter. Have a mantra. And just repeat the mantra silently. This is what we want. See, because the mind is it's a trickster. The mind plays too many tricks on oneself. If it was one or two tricks, I could be up for it. No, it's a shape-shifting trickster, constantly playing lots of tricks. And if I say I want to control the mind, it says, yeah, right, I'm the one in control. You can't control the mind. You can manage it. You can have a say over the ways of the mind. In the beginning, the mind is just free and it goes by free association. You say, oh, sometimes I just think of things without rhyme or reason. There is rhyme, there is reason. Always there is some connection. You may not know it. It's happening in the unconscious portion of the mind, the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind. You don't know the connection. But the mind is like a frog. It hops from one thing to another thing constantly. Free association. Therefore, in this time of social media and all other distractions, it is no wonder that we have lost our focus. In other words, we have lost our mind. Really? It's not available to us. So before even internalizing the truth of the Upanishads and the story of Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, how he said, you are that which you seek, and that self should be known as fulfilled and dear to you. You don't have to make it acceptable. It is already acceptable. And if you know this, the whole world becomes enjoyable. You don't have to get out of any relationship. You don't have to get into any relationship. The whole world becomes totally and fully delightful. But if I don't know this, then I am grieving because I feel alienated from my own source, from Ishvara. That's why we have to bring Ishvara into this preparation of the mind. So I have to meditate. I have to keep saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. And then the thought comes, is anything happening? No, no. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Wonder what it's doing for me. Om Namah Shivaya. That's, if the mind doesn't wander, it is not meditation. Then it would become samadhi. But we are talking here of japa, not samadhi. This means like a spoiled child that keeps going here, going there. The mother has to bring it back slowly. It's running to the road. No, 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 that's not safe for you. The mother patiently, lovingly, just like she brings it back. Similarly, we have to do that to this mind. And then, for one more tip for meditating, if you tell yourself, I'm going to sit for one mandala, 48 minutes, what will happen? You won't even be able to sit for 4 minutes. Mind says, I'm not. You sit if you want. I'm not going to sit. You're all on your own here. So we have to start small, 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 small. I recommend 1 minute meditation in the beginning. You try it. Even if you are an experienced meditator, start with 1 minute just to as an experiment. I like 1 minute meditation because the acronym is OMM. Om. You can tell the mind, you can do anything for 1 minute. You can do anything you want for just 1 minute, no problem at all. 1 minute, you can do anything. You can bear even the worst of tortures. If you knew it was just for 1 minute, okay, fine, it'll be over. You can count. So if you sit and say, I'm going to do this for 1 minute, whenever there are distractions, I'm going to bring it back. Then you have become a successful 1 minute meditator. Don't get carried away and say, oh, now I can sit for 1 hour. No. Oh, from 1 minute I go to 2 minutes? No. You go from 1 minute once a day to 1 minute twice a day, 1 minute 3 times a day. You can do it even at work. 1 minute several times a day. And then in slow increments, we get the mind to tame down. It has to just become your friend, not your enemy. The mind is actually your friend. And japa brings it and makes it your BFF, really. When the mind becomes your best friend, nothing is out of reach. Absolutely nothing in this world. No goal is out of reach because this powerful mind is with you. Otherwise, what can you say of the mind? Never mind. That's all you can say. That's all you can say. If the mind doesn't cooperate, you can't say anything about the mind. You can't complain that the mind is distracted. That's its nature. You just bring it back. Before we have what is called Vijatiya Vritti Pravaha, a series of random thoughts, randomly they come and go, and I am just a hostage to my thoughts. My job in meditation, through the tool called meditation, is to make it Sajatiya Vritti Pravaha. I give it a job to do. Think Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, Om Namah Shivaya. Okay, now can I think something else? No. The next thought is also going to be Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, what's the third thought? Om Namah Shivaya. What's the fifth thought, sixth thought, seventh thought? Om Namah Shivaya. Oh, but I want to have my own thoughts. Okay, come back. Om Namah Shivaya. This is what one has to patiently, lovingly do. The idea is in the close eye meditation, what you achieve carries you through, and the whole life becomes one extended, open eyed meditation where you are with yourself. The mind is available to you, the buddhi is available to you. The senses are available to you. They're not going all over the place and then making you a helpless caricature, running after objects of sensory pleasures and running after things that one wants. This is the first step to interrogating the wanter, interrogating the wanting person. The second thing that one can do in life with regard to wants in general is practice deferred gratification. This is what the latest and trendy child raising, what is the techniques. The child says, I want it now. After some time. After some time. The mother and the father, they don't say no. The parents don't say no. What do they say? After some time, you can have it. And the child learns to live with that want and not come under the spell of the want for those 2 hours of non-gratification. Forget children, the adults, the inner children need this practice. I have to have this cake right now. Why? Because otherwise it will turn into a terrible ache. Therefore, I need this cake to stave off this ache. I need this cake right now. Please, 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 let me have this cake. Tell yourself. Don't tell yourself, no, I'll never touch this cake in my whole life. I will never. I'll forget the spelling of cake. No, it won't work. Small steps, simple steps. Just say, I'll have it after 2 hours. And for those 2 hours, don't sit and meditate upon the cake. Okay? Yeah. Go do some gardening. Go somewhere. Call a friend. Call a family member. Connect. Do other chores. Pick up and clean the house, which has become a pigsty. And do all these things. Chances are the 2 hours come and then go, and you haven't thought of the cake. 2 hours later, also you have forgotten the cake. Good. Very good. Then when you look at the cake, you say, hello, you're still here. But that hello is different from hello, I need you, I have to have you. There is freedom. You have graduated to not wanting it for 2 hours, and then there is a freedom in this desire. The wanting is separated from you enough. There is a space between the you and the want so that you can observe it like the bird in the Mundaka Upanishad. Deferred gratification. Really, really important. I practice deferred gratification. It really works. Because that urgency is what sinks the person. I succumb to this urgency. I have to have it right now. There is nothing that important. There is nothing that desperate. There is nothing that urgent. It can wait. You tell, it can wait. Let me if 2 hours is too long, say, let me vacuum the house, then I will have it. Then you give yourself another task. Let me go do this, then I'll have it. Let me run another errand and come. Let me drop this off and then come back and then I'll have it. You can break up those 2 hours in smaller segments if it's too much for you. When you graduate, you say 4 hours. Then you say 1 day. Then you can just take it 1 day at a time. Today, I can get over this particular addiction. I don't know what I did yesterday. I have no say over tomorrow. But today, I will not indulge in that which is harmful to me, harmful to my body, harmful to my mind. So many things we can say. And I'm not just talking of substances, food. I'm not just talking of that. Even relationships, harmful. So many things. Today, I will not indulge in this. So we take it one step at a time, 1 day at a time, to discover, embrace, and be one with the non-wanting person. And when the non-wanting person overtakes and replaces the wanting person, we can use a word we used yesterday, is mithya. Mithya. And as though superimposition upon the non-wanting I, which is the truth of the self. So the mithya wants and the mithya wanting person is actually enjoyable when I know this is a spoof. when I call the bluff, you can enjoy the wants, you can enjoy the desires because there is freedom. Like Lord Krishna loving the color yellow. He loves yellow color. Pitambaradhari. He loves to play the flute. He loves to sport a peacock feather in his hair. What's the difference? Oh, he also has wants. He also has likes. And you tell me to go get over my likes and dislikes. Krishna has 3 likes, we have now found out. 3 desires Krishna has. What's the difference between me and Krishna? Small difference. If you take away his feather, if you take away his flute, he's not going to sit and cry. He's not going to pull out his hair in clumps. He's not going to say, I'm deranged. I have just been terrible. I can't do this. I can't live without this. That's the difference. His wants become vibhutis, glories for us to enjoy. We can enjoy the peacock feather dancing on his head. We can enjoy the sweet sound of the flute, imagining what it must have sounded like. We can enjoy the yellow clothes. We can enjoy his butter stealing antics. But that's because there is freedom. Wherever there is freedom, there is enjoyment. So if you are not enjoying your wants, that means there is a hook there. And that hook is slowly removed, first through the committed study of Upanishads, and then through these small, these dual, what's its name, sadhanas. One is antaranga sadhana, inward practice of meditation. The other is bahiranga sadhana, of practicing deferred gratification. Then the non-wanting person becomes free to relate to anybody, anything, at any time. That is freedom in relationship. And that is what is called emotional maturity. Emotional maturity means knowing that I can't always get what I want. And that's okay. I have freedom. And I interrogate the wants to understand that the truth of the self is a non wanting I. The wanting I is an imposter. And when I do this, I'm able to relate freely with anybody, anything, whenever I want, rather than I have to have this. This is the difference. Thank you very much. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ